Do you remember your first mobile phone? For millions of us around the world, chances are it had the name Nokia on it. For a time, Nokia wasn't just a phone company. It was the phone company, a symbol of innovation, durability, and a truly global brand. But in a tech world that moves at lightning speed, how did this giant, seemingly invincible, fall from the top so dramatically? Today, we're diving deep into the epic story of the rise and fall of Nokia. Believe it or not, Nokia's story doesn't start with phones. It begins way back in 1865 in Finland as a single paper mill. Over the next century, it grew into a massive conglomerate, making everything from rubber boots and car tires to cables and consumer electronics. This diverse background gave Nokia a powerful industrial foundation and a culture of adapting to new technologies. By the 1980s, as the world was just beginning to imagine a future with mobile communication, Nokia was already there, developing some of the first car phones. Their deep expertise in radio technology and electronics manufacturing gave them a huge head start. The 1990s and early 2000s were Nokia's golden age. This is when they truly conquered the world. So, what was their secret sauce? First, design and user experience. While other phones were clunky and complicated, Nokia focused on making devices that were intuitive, stylish, and personal. Remember the iconic Nokia tune? The satisfying click of the keys. The ability to change your phone's cover to match your outfit. Nokia understood that a phone was more than just a tool. It was a personal accessory, a part of your identity. Then there was the legendary durability. The Nokia 3310, released in 2000, became an internet meme for being practically indestructible. You could drop it, step on it, and it would just keep working. This reputation for quality and reliability built immense trust with consumers. And let's not forget the games. Before app stores even existed, Nokia gave a snake. This simple, addictive game became a global phenomenon. PI installed on hundreds of millions of devices. It was a masterstroke, making their phones not just useful, but fun. Beyond the hardware, Nokia was brilliant at understanding different markets. They didn't just sell one phone to everyone. They created a huge portfolio of devices at every price point, from basic, affordable models for emerging markets to high-end communicators for business professionals. They were masters of logistics and distribution, getting their phones into every corner of the globe. At their peak, Nokia held over 40% of the global mobile phone market share. It felt like their reign would last forever. But in the world of tech, forever can be a very short time. The date was January 9th, 2007. On a stage in San Francisco, Steve Jobs unveiled the first iPhone. It wasn't just a new phone. It was a completely new category of device. A full touchscreen, a powerful operating system, and a revolutionary concept, the app store. At first, Nokia executives weren't too worried. They saw the iPhone as a niche, expensive product. It lacked a physical keyboard, had poor battery life, and was tied to a single carrier in the US. Nokia, with its massive market share and diverse portfolio, felt secure. They believed their hardware superiority and brand loyalty would protect them. This was their first, and perhaps greatest, mistake. They underestimated the seismic shift that was happening. The battle was no longer about who could make the best phone. It was about who could create the best ecosystem. The iPhone, and soon after, Google's Android platform, changed the rules of the game. It was all about software and services. The app store created a universe of possibilities, turning the phone into a pocket computer, a gaming console, a navigation device, and so much more. Nokia's operating system, Symbian, which had served them so well for years, suddenly felt old and clunky. It was difficult for developers to create apps for, and the user interface couldn't compete with the slick, intuitive experience of iOS and Android. While the external threat was growing, Nokia was also fighting a war within itself. The company had become a massive, complex bureaucracy. There were internal divisions and fierce competition between different departments. The hardware teams, the software teams, and the services teams were often working in silos, not collaborating effectively. This internal fragmentation stifled innovation. Good ideas got lost in layers of management, and the company was too slow to react to the rapidly changing market. They were trying to build a new, modern operating system called Miko, which showed a lot of promise, but development was slow and plagued by internal politics. In a desperate attempt to turn the tide, Nokia made a fateful decision in 2011. Under their new CEO, Stephen Elop, a former Microsoft executive, they announced a strategic partnership with Microsoft. They abandoned their own operating systems, Symbian and the developing Miko, and went all in on Windows Phone. The logic was to create a third ecosystem to compete with Apple and Google. Elop famously described Nokia as standing on a burning platform, needing to take a bold leap. Unfortunately, this leap was into icy water. The Windows Phone platform, while praised for its unique tile-based interface, failed to gain traction with developers or consumers. The app gap was a killer. Popular apps like Instagram and Snapchat were either late to the platform or never arrived at all. For consumers, choosing a Windows Phone meant being locked out of the vibrant app ecosystems they saw on their friends' iPhones and Androids. Nokia's hardware was still excellent. Their Lumia phones were beautifully designed and had fantastic cameras, but the software was a deal breaker. Sales plummeted. The once mighty giant was now in a freefall. The final chapter came in 2013, when Microsoft announced it would acquire Nokia's devices and services business. The Finnish icon, the company that had put a mobile phone in the hands of the world, was selling its most famous division. It was the end of an era. The Nokia brand name on phones largely disappeared for a few years, a heartbreaking conclusion for a company that had once been a source of immense national pride for Finland. So, what can we learn from Nokia's dramatic fall? The lessons are powerful and still relevant today. First, never underestimate a new competitor, especially one that changes the fundamental rules of the game. Nokia was focused on winning the hardware war, while Apple and Google changed the battlefield to software and ecosystems. Second, success can breed complacency. Nokia's massive market share created a sense of invincibility that blinded them to the disruptive threats on the horizon. They became slow, bureaucratic, and resistant to the radical changes that were needed. And third, a company's internal culture is critical. Internal conflicts and a lack of a unified vision can cripple even the most successful company from within, preventing it from adapting and innovating when it matters most. But the story isn't entirely over. The part of Nokia that was sold to Microsoft continues to be a major player in telecommunications network equipment. And in a surprising comeback, the Nokia brand name on mobile phones was revived in 2016 by HMD Global, a new Finnish company. They found a niche creating reliable, well-built Android phones that trade on the nostalgia and trust of the original Nokia brand. It's a small-scale revival, but it's a testament to the enduring power of that name. The story of Nokia is a classic cautionary tale in the tech world. It's a reminder that no lead is safe, no empire is permanent, and the only constant is change. They connected people, they defined an era, and their journey from a paper mill to a global titan and back again remains one of the most fascinating stories in business history. What was your first Nokia phone? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to read your memories. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the world of technology. See you in the next one.